Hey there, good to see you. I still have a small backlog of rides like this one, filmed in 2025 to post to the channel this winter, before shooting new rides for 2026. For this ride, we are back in Southern California, and we'll do an evening tour from Burbank down the northern section of the L.A River Bike Path. Since it's only a few blocks from my hotel, we'll start with a detour around the nearby Walt Disney Studios lot and then learn a bit of Disneyland history before rolling out to the trail start. Then, around sunset, we'll reach the turnaround at the end of this segment of the path. Then we'll return via Griffith Park, stop by the Observatory, and as night falls, climb up and over Mount Hollywood Drive. We'll pass by a cursed picnic bench and other spirited spots. So I hope you enjoy this after-work golden hour urban adventure. Here's a quick look at the route, and then let's get going. Hey, thanks for joining me today. We are leaving from my hotel, the Coast Hotel Burbank. We're exiting out onto Lamer Street before heading west on Olive Ave. It was comfortable, but the only hotel I've ever stayed at that didn't allow me to keep my bike in the room, and instead kept it in a locked, disused ballroom. So it was secure, but I like keeping it with me. We're only going to be on Olive for a block before we turn south there at Keystone Street. This is another long one, so please note there are always chapters to find the different sections. It's going to be a sec before we get a break in traffic, it looks like. Okay, here we go.
We're gonna stop this one, guys.
There was no one coming in any direction. No need to waste momentum. Like a lot of places, the side streets are the quieter, slower ways to traverse the street grid. We're using this to head towards Riverside Drive, the connection to the L.A River Path. First, we're crossing Alameda Ave, though. Oh, let's try to make that light. To the right, those are obviously sound stages, and the fence-top decorations look very mouse-ear shaped. Yep, we're actually along the east side of the Walt Disney Studios. So, instead of going left up ahead at Riverside, let's do a quick loop of the House of Mouse. If you want to skip right to the trail, it's The Trail Begins chapter, or at timestamp 25 minutes 27 seconds. There's something else interesting straight ahead, but we'll circle back to that later. That little protected corner design is interesting, but what if a car is parked right at the transition? Alright, so the main Disney studio is here to the right, and on the left is the distinctive Roy E. Disney Animation Building and the taller ABC Disney headquarters. I'll pull over for a sec to show you. There, with the Sorcerer's Hat, is the animation building. Remember that stripe pattern in a few minutes. And then that's the ABC building on the left. Connected to the studio lot with this footbridge. Warner Brothers Studio is just another 2/3 of a mile down Riverside ahead, but we'll turn right. Now we're heading north on Buena Vista Street. Yes, the original one. The one inside Disney California Adventure is named after. And here at the Buena Vista Gate is one of the iconic entrance signs. The Disney Studios moved here in 1940 from their previous small location on Hyperion Avenue in Silver Lake. That location now has a Gelson supermarket. This tall red and tan building that we are going to go right ahead around onto Alameda Ave is the 1990 Michael Graves designed Michael Eisner building. Most famous for its portico facade held up by giant figures of the Seven Dwarfs. We'll pull over at the Alameda Gate ahead to get a look, and also look where Walt's corner office still is. Through the trees you can just see the 19-foot tall dwarfs.
A glimpse of Walt.
Walt's office was just behind that round gatehouse structure. Heading east now on Alameda Ave for the last bit to finish the lap of the studio. And back onto Keystone Street, where we were before. This time, let's go a different way to see something even cooler. First, we'll turn down Parkside Ave. And now here is Riverside, 1 block east of where we were before, but we'll continue across it. To this narrow strip of sandy open land alongside the 134 freeway.
It's a bit rough. I'll go this way.
And then along this hard-to-ride bridleway with loose sand in spots.
It's so sandy.
But back in the late 40s, before the plan for Disneyland in Anaheim, and before the freeway cut through it, this plot of land was proposed by Disney for their next thing, a themed park for both children and adults. Coined Mickey Mouse Park, it would have had a perimeter railroad, a lake with a paddle wheel boat, and many of the ideas that ended up in the Disneyland that we have today. Walt was already realizing that they would need more room than these few acres when Burbank denied the development proposal. And so the search for a new location began, one that ended in a large orange grove exactly 30 miles southeast. Now the area is preserved as this open space, and is used mainly by equestrians to get between a large stable facility on Riverside and the trail network in Griffith Park. But by far, the best resource for finding out about what was nearly the location of Walt's Park are the excellent videos by the very sadly recently deceased and dearly missed Adam the Woo, who visited the site 5 years ago and then again last spring along with Hey Bricky. Both of their videos are linked in the description. Remember I said to remember the striped pattern on that building? Well, we're now directly behind the animation building. And then here's the little equestrian and walking underpass under the 134 freeway. Where we can go see what would have been the southern edge of the park along the LA River channel. This would have been about where the proposed railroad would have run.
Trippy, there's some stairs coming out of the 134 over there.
The green grassy area across the way is Forest Lawn Cemetery.
Decent amount of water.
I think some of the water could have come from thunderstorms they had in the mountains that day. Well, the sun's getting low, so let's get going. I do have to let you know that technically bike riding is prohibited on these trails. So if you want to see it yourself, walking over here is probably better. I just knew from a previous walk that seeing an equestrian late on a weekday was pretty unlikely. Don't stand over any of the sand mounds you see though, they were stinging ant nests of either native or invasive fire ants. There's a good view of the animation and ABC buildings. Then we'll quickly exit out this alley, past the loading dock.
Might make a mess park. It's been connected still? Good. Alright. Now Riverside.
Using another of those diverters, we're now finally on Riverside. Oh, and here's a reminder that you can choose from 2 audio tracks for this and most of my other recent videos. Since you're listening to me and there's a music underscore, this is the English United States audio. In the video settings, in the gear icon menu, if you switch to just English, you'll get just the sounds recorded on the ride itself, without me or the music. which might be more immersive as a virtual ride, or better if you just don't need the tour guide track. And here at South Main Street is the large equestrian center on the right. Did that person just honk at me because I moved over a bit to give the horse and walker some room? Sheesh. LA has lots of fast road riders on expensive bikes wearing stylish kits. And here at Victory Boulevard, we're veering right to stay on Riverside. That park on the right is the Betty Davis picnic area. Now, this bridge takes us over the L.A River. And it looks like we're turning onto the freeway on-ramp ahead. But a sharp 270-degree turn takes us onto the start of the L.A River Bike Path. It may continue ahead west one day, but this is the end for now. I found there's an active plan to extend the trail west to Reseda in the San Fernando Valley, which would be great. Despite its reputation as a glorified gutter, the LA River does have a surprising amount of greenery and wildlife along it. As you can hear, it's a bit loud though, being next to the 134 and later Interstate 5. Which is what we're passing underneath now. And over there across the channel, that tower and yellow building are DreamWorks Animation Studios. So Warner Brothers, Disney, and DreamWorks are all just a few miles apart from each other. And then my mic receiver to camera connector came unplugged here in a bit.
What happened to my mic? Resync. Oh, we don't have to resync. Well, alright. I will do a mic sync again just so I can sync with the external recording. Well, I don't have a full recording, never mind. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, why don't I still have mic? It's not coming into the camera. What is going on here? Man, this thing is acting all screwy today. Yeah, there we go.
Luckily, the internal backup on the mic transmitters came in clutch here again. It's what you've been listening to.
Infamous bump is just up here, I believe. did they repair it?
There was a severely tree root lifted section of trail around here, causing some serious crashes. It was even on the TV news, so I was being cautious in this section. I think it's the patched pavement right here. I don't think you can see it from the trail, but across the freeway here is the Genotry Museum of the American West. And the tall fence blocks balls from the Wilson and Harding golf course hitting cars. With all these light poles, it does look like it would be well lit at night. Though, I would be careful at night alone in such an urban environment. Here's the Colorado Street underpass. That was 3 canyon bikes in a row. They're getting popular. I should mention that this is just the contiguous northern section of the trail to Elysian Valley. There is currently a gap of a few miles, and then the trail begins again in Vernon at Atlantic Boulevard. And then it runs another 17 miles to Pier Point Park at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. LA Metro has a plan to close this gap with several projects, starting this year in 2026. It was originally targeting an opening by the 2028 Summer Olympics, but now looks like it's going to be 2031. There's a link in the description to the project website where you can see the route options and renderings. This bridge connects you to a parallel path on the east bank that takes you over to Atwater Village. And to the right of the bridge is an underpass to Griffith Park. shadow here of the final easternmost peak of the Santa Monica Mountains. There are some cracked pavement spots here, but they aren't the crash-causing ones. There's a split coming up ahead. I was deciding which to take to continue on the path, bypassing Los Feliz Blvd. It wasn't this one.
Oh, I took the way that went to Los Feliz. That's funny. Got it. The overpass bypasses crosses Los Feliz.
Yeah, so this overpass carries us over Los Feliz then. And now we found some more sunlight. This time, I saw the small Glendale Boulevard sign on the lamppost just in time. This diagonal bridge just past Glendale Boulevard is called the Red Car Bridge. I wonder if it carried the red electric streetcars then. This is just a pipeline, not a bridge. As we get closer to Elysian Valley and Frogtown, the path is starting to get more used. Going underneath Fletcher Drive. But there are also some unhoused persons setting up camps through here.
On your left, guys. Thank you.
Going under the Glendale Freeway, Highway 2. And we're now entering Frogtown, a kinda hip urban area seeing redevelopment. You can see some of the cafes and shops appearing on the right. Including right here, Spoke, a bike rental and repair shop with a beer garden and cafe. I would have stopped, but I think it closed at 6 p.m. And here's La Colombe coffee. That Dodgers fan must have been very happy later in the fall. That's quite a bright headlight. Okay, even if that was an e-bike, I think it belonged on the road, right? This bridge takes you to Rio de Los Angeles State Park.
On your left.
I think the second of those two cyclists was the one who zoomed past in Burbank. The southern turnaround must not be too far ahead. This is called Griffith Park. Slow down a bit to weave through the support pillars under I-5 here. With the palm trees at Dodger Stadium in Elysian Park visible up on the hill there, the turnaround is just up this ramp. There's a roundabout, and from there, some low-traffic connections to downtown LA. But we are just going to turn around and backtrack to Los Feliz to go up into Griffith Park. Just skip to the Los Feliz chapter, or at 1 hour, 8 minutes and 53 seconds, if you want to skip this backtrack section of the L.A River Bike Path. Until we get to Los Feliz, this will just be the same things we saw going south, just in reverse. I should have sped up here to jump on these wheels. But closing this gap was proving tough.
Yeah, too rich. Skinny tires, maybe. Good job, bud.
We'll get some nice blasts of warm sunset light through here.
Really going, huh? Good job, man.
Yeah, at least I hope that was a boy. Sorry if not. There's Spoke again. While pretty, in real life this made it a bit hard to see.
Nice job.
I can see the red car bridge again. Los Feliz is not much farther. I had hoped we'd get to the observatory in Griffith Park by sunset, but now it's looking like making it for Twilight is more realistic. Okay, here it is, Los Feliz Blvd. I'm gonna stop here and set the Ace Pro to pure video night mode. A little different color tone, but let's see how it deals with the dropping light levels. First, we need to get across the road. We'll use my Sacramento trick and tail onto the off-ramp's green light. There's no bike lanes on Los Feliz, so let's hope this isn't too bad. On the right, you can just glimpse the William Mulholland statue. We're actually crossing over Riverside Drive again. And it's some degree of climbing from here all the way to the observatory. I'll speed up some sections like this for brevity. I later figured out you could turn right here at Huxley to Griffith Park Drive and then get to our route. Okay, well, if parking is allowed in the right lane, the cars can't get too mad at me. Plus, they'll provide some cover, keeping the lane more clear. Okay, this works, but if you take my route, turn at Huxley or even the street before, Lambeth. Oh, another guy on a canyon. Well, you definitely want to turn here at Griffith Park Drive, and I almost missed it.
Oh, I am actually supposed to Go this way. That's the first street. Ooh!
Yes, the next turn is left on Amesbury Road. It would be a right if you took any of the other streets previously. Let's give the Amazon truck some space. And we'll speed this up again. Then left here onto Cromwell Ave. Some person in the 1920s or 30s had a thing for English-sounding street names. Let's take a drink break.
Please let's keep this elevation. Not throw it away.
I just hate climbs that dip midway and cause you to regain that elevation again to the top. There may be disappointment on that front, but they do give a breather and some speed. Cromwell mostly levels out. And then, yep, dips down. Oh well. In this mode, to gather more light, the camera's shutter speed drops, and thus the stabilization sharpness as well. Straight through here at Commonwealth Ave. Yeah, that was the plan. Also, is that skywriting?
What? Why does this have to be like this? It could just be a flat curve.
We've also moved into Scotland. This is Inverness Avenue. Dang it. Left, right.
Well, I think I went the wrong way.
Yes, it was a left here on Aberdeen Ave, though you could also go up the hill. And finally, right here at Vermont Ave. That'll take us all the way up into the park. This wide shoulder is nice, especially when tour buses pass you like this. There's the official park entrance sign. But we're gonna lose the shoulder. Can you spot the domes of the planetarium and telescope at the observatory? Franklin's Cafe and Market looks like it could be a nice rest stop, with drinks, snacks, and an outdoor patio. The shoulder's back! Coming up on the left is the famous Greek Theater. Let's hope the bus sees us before pulling out. On a gravel or mountain bike, you could use that path on the right as well.
Almost to the tunnel.
It would still be a little ways. After another quick drink break, the climb continues. And it really narrows here at this gate. Stick to the far right edge if you can. Look at the sky though, going all beautiful pink and lavender. And those iconic LA streetlights. The cones to block left turns tells me we're just before the tunnel. The loop to the observatory is now one way. that last idiot in the Lincoln will give us more problems in a minute. The tunnel is downhill, so with a little speed, we just take the lane. Off to the right is the closed to cars Mount Hollywood Drive. We'll use that later to get back to Burbank. And then that Lincoln Navigator swerves left to ask something. You just drive up and find parking.
How are you going?
It's so popular here, this last climb is always a bit of a cluster. Watch out for anything to happen. I bet they think they've seen the last of me, but nope. And keep in mind, probably half these drivers are visiting tourists in rental cars. And so the clawback begins.
It was so hot. Yeah, you could find.
One thing to watch out for is people jumping out of cars to walk up. Did that Lincoln move over to not get yelled at? Is that Tesla in front a rideshare? It's telling me to watch them closely.
Whoa, watch the door.
Yep. Now the cars parking all go to the left, so it clears a little bit. You can already tell the view is gonna be worth it though. You know, let's walk around in public in a silly shirt and shorts. And then, here's the observatory itself. Most of the exhibits and skywatching through the telescopes is free. Just the Planetarium Theater needs tickets.
There's one in there that doesn't suck.
I think just about everyone has seen Rebel Without a Cause, right? Here's the monument to James Dean, who starred in it. It came out just after his death in 1955. Oops, I didn't mean to shine my light at that staff member with a telescope.
Sorry.
Now that is an LA Twilight. So haze can be good for something. The monument is to famous astronomers throughout history. And then, the east side here has great views of Glendale and Pasadena. Downtown LA is blocked by the trees, but from the side of the observatory, the view's great. That is about the end of the good footage. Everything from here on is pretty dark and shaky. But we do see a few more interesting spots, if it doesn't bother you. First though, we have to thread our way down the hill.
Ask the people there.
Okay, this isn't too bad. We'll cut off a bit of the hill this way. And now around the closed gate on Mount Hollywood Drive. There'll be a bit of this tunnel vision view up and over the hills, but I'll cut everything but the interesting parts. We'll see plenty of other bikes, scooters, one-wheels, etc. up here though. I do kind of wish there were some streetlights though. There are lots of views of the city lights below, though.
I now realize I've been going by the haunted picnic bench at night in the dark, all alone.
Just Google Griffith Park Haunted Picnic Table if you want to know. Plus, the whole park is said by some to be cursed, and the most haunted part of LA. Luckily, I'm not superstitious, right? There's a few back at the observatory and downtown. And there's the radio tower on Mount Lee with...
The Hollywood sign, guys. Can I see it? Oh wow, it's crazy, one wheel. A couple of them. It's crazy. All right, last little push. Now we're done.
Groups of people just walking in the dark. Then there were a few of these random groups of ghostly white lilies.
Oh, just lilies growing by the side of the road.
Not like lilies are a symbol of death or anything. Then there are bits of random old parking areas and picnic sites like this. Oh, and apart from the supernatural, they do for sure have mountain lions in the Santa Monicas.
Short break. See, I'm at the top anyway.
Oh, here's someone else. We'll try to keep them in sight. This tree is pretty, silhouetted by the last glow in the sky. And then here, at the also closed Vista del Valle, the downhill starts, and the lights below are Burbank. Oh, remember that haunted picnic bench? It's right on the inside of this next right-hand bend. Yep, right back there. Rumor has it that you might see some other weird phenomena up here. This corner seems familiar somehow. Hey, do you hear something? Or is that just me? Okay, I think I'm tripping up here now. Time to get out of here. But yes, with a prop streetlight and bench added, that was where they filmed the outdoor dance scene in La La Land. And then we spot a pair of glowing eyes.
Hey, Coyote.
You can see the uphill version of this as a climb in a great video by Gravel Bike California. It even has Matthew Vanderpool in it. There's a link in the description.
Tight corner.
and then we pass the site of the former Toyon Canyon landfill. Definitely no bodies in there. Kinda comforting to not be all alone, and not just the being up here while surrounded by millions down below. And then this old storage tank just pops out of nowhere. That does signal that we're almost at the bottom gate. And then we make a left onto this closed section of Griffith Park Drive. Before somewhat entering civilization again at Zoo Drive. The 134 freeway sounds are almost comforting now. Hard to make it out, but on the right here is Traveltown Miniature Railroad. The track used to belong to Walt Disney himself, and was set up in his Holmby Hills backyard before being moved here. His Carrollwood Pacific Barn is also next door at LA Live Steamers. And then, here's Riverside Drive again. Of course, lots of traffic from behind comes right now. Right after we cross the freeway is where we first got on the L.A River Path. We're now passing the equestrian center again, and my light battery was giving signs of dying. So just after we pass the practice ice rink of the LA Kings ahead, we'll call it a ride. My light did die, but then I just took empty residential streets back to the hotel. Thanks for coming along on this crazy evening adventure. I'll see you on the next ride. Thanks for joining me on this one. We certainly saw a variety of terrain and conditions all within a small area of LA. If you could, please like and subscribe to help grow the channel and see more ride videos coming soon. Thank you. I also have a post on the channel detailing what's coming up, including some exciting new locations. And revisiting a couple others, I wasn't able to film everything I wanted to the first time, so stay tuned for those. See you soon. Bye.